And we are live. Hey, welcome to the JUSt TAi Podcast Show. Welcome. Missed out yesterday, but we here. So today I hope y'all having a wonderful morning, evening, night, midnight special. Every time it's the same. Take this energy now. We all in the same boat. We can start the conversation. It's quite early, but I am quite excited. I am still excited for this episode. Yesterday, Facebook would not work for me. YouTube would not go live for me. But now we can all relax because the JUSt TAi show is here. And shout outs to everyone that had a wonderful Saturday. Shout outs to everyone that didn't have a wonderful Saturday. I mean, you're just getting yourself prepared for today. So let's do some reflection. When I wake up, still got a little bit in me. I didn't get to do as much, man. I wanted to make sure I did the show. But make sure you do some real stretches. If you're not into yoga, look up just some gentle yoga stretches, some downward dogs, some sun salutations, which involve just like an energy gym. It just opens up your chest. Opens for me, it opens up my heart chakra. I just feel like I don't know. If I've been able to walk with my chest out lately instead of just like sunken in. I was a gamer, so on a computer a lot, so I spent a lot of time hunched over the computer screen like this. So the front just go like that. So lately, exercising and doing this yoga and breathing techniques, being practice, which is all just practicing good posture and all that stuff, I'm able to sit upright now. And it's a whole rejuvenating feeling to life. And I love it. And let me go get this charger so we can keep going. Da, da, da. All right. Screen. Backlight goes down. All right. But what is today's episode about, you ask? I'll tell you. Today's episode is about R.i.p. to the rapper Mac Miller. I knew about him since 2009 when he used to mess with Wiz Khalifa because they were both from Pittsburgh, so they were rappers. But shout outs to Mac Miller, man. I've been following him for a while, but that's one of the topics we're gonna go down. We're gonna go down that rabbit hole of Mac and the opioid epidemic going on in America. As addiction, how does it work in the brain? How does it work in the mind? We're gonna talk about addiction, opioids, and Mac Miller, because Mac Miller is a representation of a lot of millions of people that's in America. Millions of people looked up to him. So this is for you, bro. He always exists in the ethers. You don't ever die. You don't ever die. But before we start any of this, before we go any farther, I do not condone the use of illegal or legal drugs. The JUSt TAi Podcast Show does not promote the use of illegal or legal drugs. Your body is your body. This is just research, opinions, and past experiences being talked about. That's all. Yeah, I'll take everything I say with a grain of salt. But overall, I'm here to just love. But let's start off with the Mac Miller. I found a cool Rolling Stone. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry. I found a cool Rolling Stone. Oh, that's the button. Found a cool Rolling Stone article. Going to go to it. So does this fade? I can end it. Remember, this is a podcast, so if y'all have any articles y'all want to send me, if y'all have any questions, if y'all want to just have a conversation, can go in. It's just tie. You just tie. When you buy mind with your heart, let whatever comes out, let them whatever comes out, comes out. All right, so let's go. Let's go. Why this is low end? No, no, no. Let me do this. I'm gonna talk about that in a bit. Really live this time. Just gotta post this because I was supposed to go live yesterday, as I was saying, and it didn't work. So now I really gotta tell this group of people that we are here. All right. And let's go back to where we was at on Mac Miller. He was an artist. And you know, as an artist, true artist, like what I mean by true artist is a person whose life is thrown into just expressing that art. Like they don't have nothing, they don't have, really have nothing else going on for them, but probably just loving their friends and family. But their full expression is going towards their art. Like if you want to know them, you just look at their art piece or look at their music, and that's what they will say to you. But he was so into pushing it, and a lot of artists fall into this loop of depression because at first we grow up during that depression, like artists. I'm an artist as well. Grow up um with something happening. We all grow up with something happening on this earth. And when you become an artist, you finally see a way where you could break apart from that trauma and bring that, as I'm just going to put it like this, bring that light, let a channel open up to for in order for it to express itself. So say that you love to paint, and when you're painting, you just feel so happy, you always smile, and time just disappears. And then you come back and got this painting, or you're an artist, you like to sing, you like to rap. After while you're doing it, time just stands still. The moment lasts forever. It's because you're allowing yourself to lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, that's what you find yourself. And that's what we find a lot with these psychedelics. And that's just as general human nature as well. But we're not what artists, the thing is that what we do in that art, I don't know, I'm just thinking about music and why it's always so sad and stuff like that. And that's because it's only music is only one piece of our puzzle of expression. So it feels as though we've relieved everything, but yet we still have a lot going on in our regular, in our life. I'm not gonna say ever regular everyday life. A lot of stuff gets hidden so that you can allow this channel to be open to work, so that you can work as much as you need to on your artistry. And you know, artists will sacrifice their whole social life. They'll sacrifice so much so that they can be able to express themselves, and that's all they care about is just self-expression, self-expression. And they let a lot of other things go by the fall by the leeway. But that's the pressure for you. But I got this Rolling Stone article so we could tie this all in, because I know on the side of time we like to look up some, see what other people had to say from time to time. Say Mac Miller dead at 26. Prolific rapper who underwent artistic reinnovation dies from apparent drug overdose at Los Angeles home. But I'm gonna post this link for you. There we go. If y'all follow that link, y'all be able to tag along because I probably skim over. So if y'all ever in your own time want to do what y'all got to do, you can just do. All right, say Mac Miller, the 26 old rapper known for his candy wordplay. Hey, I'm 26 right now. Now, was a drug overdose. They just passed away from drug overdoses, man. Malcolm McCormick, which known as Mac Miller, has tragically passed away. He was a bright light in this world. In the family statement, he was a bright light in this world for his family, friends, and fans. Thank you for his prayers. Respect our privacy. No further details. And it's talking about he was found in his Los Angeles home. Y'all probably know most of this already. While initially counted, yeah, this they're talking about his life. Career was, yeah, while initially counted as a member of the first rap genre of the early 2010s, Miller's career was defined as a refusal to fit in an artistic box. He transitioned from party rap to heady backpacker lyricism to jazz-influenced songwriter in his final two albums. To do so, he often turned away from guaranteeing commercial success in favor of experimentation and craftsmanship in his work. They just further strengthening what I was saying that he was an artist and what that really meant when it comes to depression. Yeah, had publicly struggled. Miller had publicly struggled with substance abuse throughout his career and had a well publicized deal, blah, blah, blah. Miller had been open about his addiction issues in the past and had discussed his dependence on lean, a combination of codeine and promethazine extensively. After years of And y'all know about that. Y'all know about lean. Lean is to people partaking this, they know it as liquid heroin. And liquid heroin is a downer. So it's it allows them to be able to open up that channel if they use it that way that I was talking about, so they can still be expressive in their art, at least in the music scene, at least in the music scene. And this is a drug also that can kill you, has killed many of rappers, many of people saying they want to take this in the past. A lot of people have passed away, and a lot of people that do this, they know the risk that they're taking. I grew up listening to Lil Wayne. I grew up listening to Houston music a lot, Pimp C. So I was really highly influenced, and I was on the path to probably trying these drugs, lean. Only thing I just never got my hands on it. But I was a young dumb one, and I remember trying buying cough syrup from this Rite Aid and seeing what that did. It did a little something. So I know how impressionable the youth is. And all this is coming down to how addiction starts or what we decide to become addicted to. But this we're gonna go back to that later. I'm sticking to the lean. Lean is codeine and promethazine. You have to get it prescribed. It's like a luxury drink. So this is putting more pressure on it for people with money to be like, hey, this is what I do. Because they see other people in their circle doing it the same. But hey man, we gotta start being that one to do something different, man. Just to say something different. Yeah, but it's just out there. It's out there, and to each his own. Everybody has the right to experiment with their own consciousness at their own level, body. But when it comes to these drugs like codeine and promethazine, when people are dropping, I just send out my work. I just send out my heart, not even my worries, because I know y'all people that go down these paths are already worrying. They don't need more worries. They need love. They just need love. And that's why they go on these in the first place. That's why we all on something until we get to where we gotta go. All right, let's finish this. After years of long period of sobriety, he began to drink again. According to tweets from his ex-girlfriend Ariana Grande, his substance abuse was a reason for the pair broke up. I'm a babysitter. I cared for him in sobriety for years. Um, Begun rapping on the name Easy Mac. It's just a little bio. So, man, this is for you. Yeah, Russian Records. That's what. Yeah, he was in Russian Records with Wiz Khalifa. That's how I knew about him. Shouts to Russian Records. All right. Yeah, they're still talking about his life, saying he quickly began to delve into more artistically daring and often darker fare. Watching movies with the sound off was a far cry from the sound he burst onto the scene with. Mature themes. It was a certain quote that I ran here because I ran through this article yesterday. And let me just find it for y'all. Thanks for tuning into the JUSt TAi morning. It's like the JUSt TAi podcast. It's just so fun saying that. All right. Yeah, here goes something that's good for this channel. In an interview with New York Craig Jenkins, Miller frankly addressed his mental health and substance abuse issues. I really wouldn't just want happiness. I don't want just sadness either, he said. I don't want to be depressed. I want to be able to have good days and bad days. And I think, is there something else after that? Yeah, that's what I was on when he said I wanted to be able to have good days and bad days. I don't want to be depressed. I want to be able to have good days and bad days. And that's what a lot of artists see. A lot of artists are able to see the BS that goes on in the regular world and how people are faking that they're happy or putting on the front that they're happy. And that's why a lot of artists or people you see with a real artistic vibe to them, they seem as though they don't fit in at first. Hopefully with the with this show and with a lot of other people that are doing research on these plant medicines that can change. But right now, it is they're they feel as though outsiders because they see the front that people are putting on to be happy, and they see that if they're trying to be happy, that they feel as though it's a front. So they like, I don't want to just be fake all day. But then again, they don't want to be left. Like I didn't. I was the same way. I didn't want to just be left with just my sadness. I was looking out in the world, and I was becoming like a nihilist, looking at the world like a nihilist point of view. So I saw like, oh, we all really don't matter. None of this don't exist. This, blah, blah, blah. We all just gonna die. So I was really not seeing things how I should have been looking at them. All right. So I really gotta start bringing some water with me. Yeah, so you don't want to, I didn't want to be left with just that. And I didn't want to be fake and happy. So I was caught in between, and I developed this personality known as emo Steph. And a lot of people used to call me FML, because they knew the kind of stuff I was into, but I was still doing I was still trying to have fun and stuff like that, which is all you should do. If you're feeling like that, I encourage you to try to just have as much fun as possible and to possibly ignore the sadness as much as you can. But not, I mean, not ignoring it. Work on it. If y'all look, go back on the JUSt TAi, I talk about this a lot, about going back to childhoods, meditating, going back to your childhood mind and seeing what was happening, seeing the root causes of personality traits that you have now. Probably it was because of how you was raised, a loved one that came and did something, or they didn't even know they were doing something, but just the way they was raised just trickled down on you just a little bit. Maybe. The point is that we have to do the work ourselves to dive and go back and clear out our psyche. There's multiple ways to do that. There's multiple ways to do that. But because as in some ways are without putting a label, some ways it's gonna hurt you while helping you in the long run bring you down. In other ways are going to uplift you and change your life for the better and not give you physical harm, physically harm your body. It can probably physically, I mean, not physically, but have an impact on your mental. But that's why you went to those realms in the first place, so that you can deal with that. You just got to go with courage. Courage, no fear, no fear. A lot of people, a lot of people are introduced to the wrong ways of coping, the wrong ways of coping. And we all, I believe, we're made of, not believe, but we're made of chemicals. We're made of chemicals. So our body is made out of our chemicals being balanced. So naturally, as humans, I see we're going to vibe towards some kind of pill, some kind of external plant medicine, hopefully, or some kind of pharmaceutical thing in order to balance out the waves that's going on inside of us, the chemicals that's going on inside of us, because it we feel imbalanced. And my trick for me, I've learned that it's probably more than just the chemicals, but the chemicals is the physical the chemical representation of something that's going on in a whole nother realm. And by us and all and ignorance is kind of bliss. So if that's all we're able to comprehend is the chemicals in our brain, then that's what we're supposed to work on. Can't judge somebody for something they don't know. So that's what you're supposed to work on. But in my mind, it's trickled down. But anyways, when all right, I gotta share this to the Sound Time group. Anyways, when we have chemical imbalances, we feel drawn for something outside of us to balance that. That could be with food too. Food is chemicals. Bananas make me feel happy. Um, well, well, whatever. Blueberries. I love a handful of blueberries. I love watermelons. I love eating watermelons. It's all good, and it all has an effect on my mental. That's part of the reason why I went vegan, because I see how these were making me feel more uplifted. Me personally, I just feel a little more uplifted in my thoughts and uplifted in my body. I still go through life. It's not the magic. Nothing is a magic pill. None is a magic pill this time. Hold on 1 second, guys. She sure does know how to make an entrance. uh, she sure does know how to make an entrance. All right. But what I was on, I believe, if I recall, hey, if y'all just tuning in, thanks for tuning into the Side Top Podcast. We'll talk about Matt Miller, addiction, the opioids, and how people are just falling into systems because of what's and they think they don't have another choice. But with just researching knowledge and just having fun with life, you'll be open up to new possibilities. All right, what was I on? I don't. Yeah, Mac Miller saying how he really wouldn't want just happiness. I don't want just sadness either. Yeah, that's what I was saying. We turn to these, a lot of people turn into these drugs because our bodies are made of chemicals. And that's part of the reason why I went vegan, because I believe the foods hold stuff just as much as everything else. And they uplift you. Like when you had a good meal and when you had a good meal and you feel happy afterwards. And when I used to eat bad foods, I would literally feel bad afterwards. And what I mean by bad, I would feel lazy. I would not have so many enlightening thoughts or motivating thoughts to push me to do things that I know I wanted to do, which ties in with just being more lazy thoughts. But eating bad food, it was turning me into a bad person. I'll be upset or angry. And who knows, it had a lot to do with digesting and all that stuff. So everything that was in me was blocking me from doing stuff that was out. So eating cleaner foods allowed me to move into a cleaner lifestyle. in my point of view. But I'm just saying how everything is made of chemicals and how the human body, the human mind psyche is going to search for something if it's feeling a little chemical imbalance. And I followed the PSY TAi podcast a couple episodes ago when we see addiction. We was researching addiction. I'm gonna look up another article too while I'm talking. And it was saying how it's a literal change in the neural pathways in your brain, and they reconfigure to do what you are what you're choosing to be addicted to. So you always getting those dopamine hits, some nice dopamine hits in your head whenever you do it. All right, I'm looking up something on addiction. But we're all, when it comes to addiction, we're all addicted to something. We're all, I don't believe you can never be not addicted to something, but I believe you can replace your addictions with something that's going to uplift you. That's why a lot of people have hobbies. I'm so happy that I got into skateboarding in my life because it pushed me to go out into the world and just meet random people and come together with similar ideas and skate life. If y'all look into skate life, that's a big thing. Being able to run into new people, do tricks and find new locations together with people you just met, and because y'all all sharing similar stories, y'all just know how to skate. But when you let yourself and you let your consciousness just be taken over and you stay so-called sleep, the things that you become addicted to is the things that a majority of people are probably addicted to, and usually the majority of people is on the wrong kind of things, especially when you grow up in cities like I did, or probably in real rural areas in the South, but especially in cities like I projects in Philadelphia. So I seen a lot of different people try a lot of different drugs to cope with a lot of different type of lifestyles that they was so-called living. But really they was all trying to live the same kind of lifestyle, doing the same things, just at different degrees. But I seen people pop Xanax. Xanax, different kind of pills, smoke wet, passing out on the corner, or people smoking wet and people going up just to rob them and stuff because they just know that person is always on something. I seen a lot go down just right in my face. So when I tell you that you need to be addicted to the right things and you need to have control over that, or at least awareness over that, because we don't have control in this realm. We have awareness, and then we're able to come to that point of awareness in my mind, and then we're able to make that choice. But when plant medicine drugs such as psilocybin, wait, yeah, wait, now let's talk about addiction. This is from Psychology Today. Yep. Addiction is when a person engages in uses of a substance or behavior for which the rewarding effects provide a compelling incentive to repeatedly pursue the behavior despite detrimental consequences. But let me post this link. Yeah, I'm just taking some things from there about addiction now. They say both substance use disorders and gambling behaviors have increased likelihood of being accompanied by mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety or other pre-existing problems. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. So sorry about that. We're gonna have this all together sooner or later, man. I just gotta start somewhere, take advantage of all the time I have. Okay, but we see what I was talking about, how we'll say gambling behaviors and other substances have an increased likelihood of being accompanied by mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety or other pre-existing problems. Substance use and gambling disorders not only engage many of the same brain co- compulsivity, they respond to many of the same approaches to treatment. Yeah, because it get real complex. And the thing is, wait, yeah, because addiction affects the brain's executive functions. Wow, yeah, the executive functions, the high top tier of the brain, the point of the brain that most people don't meditate or don't really contemplate or just tie hard enough to reach that point in their psyche. Because it's different levels of brains, it's different levels of thoughts. And my idea, in my world, is like it starts with an idea and then it trickles down to, no, a thought, a feeling. Follow me. And it starts with a feeling, then you get a thought, and then it trickles down into an idea, which trickles down to a plan. But in the executive functions, it's still like way up there. So if you're not used to being in that realm of existence, then it's something that seems automatic to you. And then they be just like, this is just who I am. It's just what I do, man. You know, y'all know who, y'all got somebody like that. Individuals, I used to be like that. Well, alcohol and video games. Individuals who develop an addiction may not be aware that their behavior is causing problems for themselves and others. Over time, pursuit of the pleasurable effects of the substance or behavior may dominate an individual's activities. There's no one cause. Yeah, we know that the road to recovery is seldom straight. Relapse or reoccurrence is, yep, yep. And that's what we was on. And if y'all really, that's what I was going to tie this all together. Tie it all together. The JUSt TAi podcast. Like 2 episodes ago or something, we was talking about, well, a lot on these episodes. We talk about psychedelics and psychedelic research and psychotherapy and how a lot of therapists that have undergone psychedelic experiences are going underground to treat patients here and there with psychedelic drugs as well as with their licensed body of work. So they're able to get really, really efficient, effective results like never before. And we here you'll see how we find different studies, especially in the 50s. And now especially in the 50s, then it was blocked because of the drug administration. And now we're starting to become a psychedelic renaissance. And what that means, it don't mean that people never stop taking psychedelics. Don't get it twisted. People never stop. The thing is that now researchers are being able to, are allowed access to these chemicals, plant medicines, so that they can conduct scientific research on human subjects and not just rats. And shout outs to John Hopkins. That's a real popular one. And there's many other ones in other countries. Y'all gotta check it out. Y'all gotta check it out. But this is something that ties in just with the Mac Miller article that I read earlier, when how it ended when he said, how did that end? When he said, I really want just happiness. I don't want just sadness either. He said, I don't want to be depressed. I want to be able to have good and bad days. Don't we all? Well, some people try to just have the good, and that's when they get messed up. But look at this. And this is my word, not my word. This is from an article that I'm about to post now in the medical news today. And remember, if y'all ever have any articles, any questions, any concerns, just send them my way. All right. This is from medicalnewstoday.com. Magic mushrooms treating. This is the title. Magic mushrooms treating depression without dulling emotions by Anna Sandu Ayu. Hopefully I got that right. Published Tuesday. Oh, they got the day, 16, January 16, 2018. But look, the title right there, treating depression without dulling emotions, still being able to have good or bad days. but not being depressed. And this study is about psilocybin contains, not just calling it mushroom magic, but some mushrooms contain something called psilocybin. All right, let's go through this real quick. Two studies confirm the hypothesis that psychoactive compounds found in magic mushrooms may be a useful new treatment for depression, avoiding some of the side effects of conventional antidepressants. At Medical News Today, we have reported on a range of studies that pointed to psilocybin, the psychoactive substance in magic mushrooms, as a potential remedy for depression. Two such studies showed that the psychoactive compound can reduce feelings of anxiety and depression in people with advanced cancer. While I'm laughing how I say advanced. While another small trial suggested that the compound could succeed where previous treatment failed. Okay, we got that. Treatment depression can be challenging not only because some depression types are treatment resistant, but also because existing therapies have range of unwanted side effects. Yeah. Like people say, I don't want to be here. You're just telling me what to do and how to think, man. One such adverse effect frequently reported by people living with depression is the emotional blunting, indifference, or the apathy that comes with taking actions. All right, where's the study, guys? All right, here it is. Let's get to the study. Participants felt emotionally reconnected. In the first study, published in the journal Neuropharmacology, 20 people diagnosed with moderate to severe depression that conventional treatment had not alleviated participated in 2 dosing sessions with the magic mushroom compound. Using functional MRI, the team scanned the brains of the participants while they looked at pictures of emotional expressions. The scans were taken before and after drug intervention. In order to assess the impact of the treatment on depression, the subjects were all provided with psychological support before, during, and after the intervention. After the treatment, the participants reported feeling better, emotionally reconnected, and accepting. The fMRI scans also revealed a stronger brain response to emotional faces. Specifically, the scientists saw more activity in the brain's amygdala, which is the emotion processing area associated with depression. The study author explains. Based on the present results, we propose that psilocybin with psychological support is a treatment approach that potentially revives emotional responsiveness in depression, enabling patients to reconnect with their emotions. Rosman comments on the new findings, saying that they are important as they reveal biological changes after psilocybin therapy. And more specifically, they suggest that increased emotional processing is crucial for treat to work. Increased emotional processing, that executive functioning in your brain that we was reading the psychology site, that addiction exists in, that executive part of your brain, that just thought that before it becomes an idea and a plan, and then you say, oh, this is who I am, this is what I do. This is a saying right here that this Dr. Rosman is saying that they suggesting, that increase emotional process and treatment to work, and that this is pushing people's minds, psyches, whatever you want to call it, to the point where they're in that chair now, and now they're looking down and they able to review their life from the past and see everything and be able to say, wow, this is how this happened. Okay, I don't have to be like that anymore. I don't have to be like that. Can't really pluck things out. That's the problem. We think that we can block things out of the past and block traumas, but we have to deal with that if we ever want to move forward. Just time. Remember, just time means to just think about it. That's what time means. Okay. And other quote was real cool to me. Saying they are as important as they reveal. The new findings are saying that they are important as they reveal biological changes after psilocybin therapy. And biological changes, to me, on the side tie, I was talking about neuroplasticity and how in rats, they're seeing after giving these psilocybin treatments, their brain, their neural pathways literally rewire themselves to another configuration. And as we see, addiction is when your brain neurons and pathways reconfigure to fit some bad habit, neuroplasticity changes it back to something else. And along with psychotherapy and therapy, because we're seeing you can't just go out and just take these substances. That's why we do not promote the use of illegal drugs on this channel at all, because you need somebody like a therapist or a shaman who is able to bring you back and together, help you deal and talk through the problems that you see now exist with your life so that you can deal with them in the best ways possible as or not the probably not the best way possible, but the best way that somebody with a medical license or a shaman have dealt with thousands of people in this case that you're going through now have dealt with. Put it like that. So um I believe in my own world of experience, microdosing and my experience with psilocybin, good experiences while on the substances and thinking certain thoughts and thinking bad thoughts and thinking my way out of them and seeing what's going on for real now. After it was over, it's like that's the way that I think now. And it's like before the session, that was something else, or it was me, but now I'm rejuvenated in that session. And it's like 50,000 therapy sessions in just those couple of hours. So imagine with a licensed therapist talking you through that, you just whole, you become whole too. And that's why I'm loving these studies and that people are putting their life on the line in order to really put out some good results for us to look at and also experiment on if our life calls us to that. Okay. It's some more in here that's pretty cool. Yeah, they're saying how they need more research, see if the psycho compound itself or the psychological counseling. I believe it's both. I believe it's both. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Oh, okay. Mystical and this is about saying the mystical experience improves efficiency or efficacy. The second paper published in the journal Frontiers of Pharmacology examined whether or not the quality of psychedelic experience was linked with the success of treatment. Rosman and colleagues gave questionnaires to another group of 20 volunteers who underwent 2 treatment sessions with psilocybin. The researchers looked at the so-called feelings of oceanic boundlessness, which is the mystical type experience involving feelings of unity and lack of boundaries between the self and the universe, which is what you see a lot of people that deal with psychedelics. A lot of what I talk about is that we're all one. And us thinking that we're different is part of the problem. Yes, there are individuals, and yes, we have our stories, but the underlining is that we're all one. And the more we even just look at the sameness in things instead of the difference in things, the more we'll have more empathy and we're gonna do a lot of things we do. And I see myself with that. Me putting myself in people's shoes at every moment, even strangers, I'll just say hi because in my shoes, I'll be like, why didn't he say hi to me? So instead of feeling like that, just do it. Just put the energy out that you want to experience. And don't really worry about getting it back, but it does come back. All right. I was going off on a tangent. Okay. The study revealed that the more strongly the participants felt this experience, the better their mental health was in the long term. Depressive symptoms subsided and the mental benefits after the treatment and participants who reported a strong mystical experience. And this is what Terrence McKenna talked about a lot. He said a lot of people that deal with psychedelics, they say, oh, well, I felt a little body thing, or I felt a little high, or something, and they didn't really see a big transformation. This is just Terrence McKenna. He will always say, like, you didn't take it off. And it all is about setting. As we see, psychotherapy and being a licensed therapist or shaman or somebody is really deep into the mind and stuff for years is really important. But that is true. And as Eric said, it's just funny. Like, you didn't take enough. A lot of people don't take enough. And this was a guy that used to go into the forest and just shove down handfuls with his brother. Okay. Yeah. But this is awesome. Future work with psychedelics may consider investigating ways which enhance mystical type experiences and reduce anxiety, given the growing evidence that this serves the efficacy of the treatment model, concludes the author. And with me, I grew up with anxiety. I grew up in a family filled with anxiety. My household was always filled with a lot of commotion, and I used a lot of things for escape. And I didn't really have, I grew into it like that. I grew into anxiety because I was a calm kid. I was always out doing something, playing video games, building Legos, drawing Dragon Ball Z characters, watching anime, cartoons. I was always able to zone out and do something. But when I stopped zoning out and doing something as a teenager and stuff, you know how teenagers get, I've got started getting more depressed, and with that became the anxiety that comes from being raised by a single mother. And this is not just my story. This is a lot of people raised by single mothers and dealing with anxiety and a lot of pressure because they're trying to raise kids and they're doing it by themselves. You thinking about your dad from time to time. That's why I'm like, we all need to go in the hood do, which is probably leave your kids because this is just something that girl crazy. You can't deal with her, or get Papa Zan, pop, take some lean, hang out in the corner all day. Like this is what I experienced, and I was always cool with it because I always understood why people did what they did. I was never the one to wag a finger or anything like that. I can still go back now and be cool with everyone. My mom still lives there. Excuse me. Um. Lost change. Yeah, I still feel what I still see why people do what they do. But I was always one to say, I want to do something else. I want to skateboard and throughout the projects. And everybody call me Skateboard P because that's the only other black skateboarder that any other anybody know about. Or they call me Tony Hawk because the video games, and that's the only skateboarder they know in this foreign. I was in grade 2010. I started skateboarding in the projects. Now I go back and I see other black kids skating in the projects, and I just be looking at like, yo, and they say what's up because they see the way I'm dressed and see I'm probably a skateboarder. But other ones like, why is he looking at me? But I'm just looking like, yo, there wasn't nobody doing this when I was here. But it has to be somebody to break the mold. You know, psychedelics being able to get over a lot of traumas. I believe a lot more people will be able to be themselves in the moment and be able to let loose a lot of the programming that has been put on them because of their environment and because of the people that has raised them and because of the choices that we made ourselves. The main problem is I've come to the conclusion lies on ourselves and our own hearts and how we think about things. And that's why I say I still feel a lot of empathy for people because a lot of people are not able to reach that executive function in the brain. Wait, let me see what they put. I keep saying, yeah, I'll just say that executive thought process in their brain, that overarching I feelings. Yeah, I don't see. I'm trying to go past that feeling. So that's what happens. They just go about doing what the friends do, doing what the homies do. All right, and then it says the researchers are planning on carrying out larger trials with a healthy control group in which the effects of psilocybin cared with existing antidepressant a longer time after treatment. Rousman adds, which would inform us about effects compared to the first study, which was only looked at one day after the therapy. Additionally, in the light of the findings of their second study, the group recommends that future trials with psychedelics should aim to enhance the mystical experience. And I'm all for that because when if you just imagine that you on this psychedelic and say you heard a couple stories and they said you're going to feel a little more lucid in your head, but you don't really know what that means. That you probably go and see something change, but you don't really believe it. And then they just sit you down, hook you up with some wires, and they there with your note with a notepad asking you a bunch of questions as you're coming up. Think seeing that, looking around and seeing and feeling as though time doesn't exist and feeling trapped and stuff. Like you need to it needs to be facilitated by people that have experiences that themselves and not just make it so scientific routine because in my view I believe we have to wake up that this world is mind body and spirit. It's not just a materialistic view. There's definitely something beyond the veil, beyond what we see with our two eyes on a daily basis. There's definitely something there if we focus on just trying to change things here and believing that running around, this is, we grew up hearing this analogy about the rich person, about the person that goes out and wins the world or wins all this money, does all this outward expressions that a lot of people congratulate them for and they willing to die over it for in order to support this guy and stuff like that and his vision and what he able to. And then you see in the end that they wasn't happy. They got all this money. He's 60 years old. Sometimes they learn this and they're millionaires now at 20 and stuff. But they wake up and then they see that they're not happy. Why are they not happy after they did all these physical things that they want to do? They built a company, they got people jobs, they did some cool things, they did some awesome things, but still on the inside, they still, as they say in the new Star Wars, they still feel that conflict. They still feel that conflict. They still feel that something went on when they was a child or a teenager that they was never able to deal with. Pushing, but they still feel that still made it. That still wasn't a doorway to relieving how I was feeling on the inside. It just made me happy for a, a huge amount of moments. That's just the that's what I'm that was just me tying about the rich man and tying it together about how we need to work on the inside. And the inside is going to counter reflect. It's counterintuitive. And that's why it's going to counter reflect and it's going to change what I see, what you see, what we all see on the outside. And with these drugs, well, these plant medicines, it just tricks me out that they're made illegal when things like lean, which is liquid heroin, and all these other things that are killing a lot of people that's going through things that Mac Miller went through, and a lot of people that I knew growing up went through a lot of things that I was growing up into until I found a good way out. Are legal, are still legal. They make it harder to get. They put more regulations on it, but it's still out there. And y'all know once something is in the streets, it's in the streets. Even bootleg copies. That's what's going on. A lot of just synthetic, which is supposed to be synthetic cannabinoids. Not all synthetic cannabinoids are bad. Shouts to Hamilton. But the K2 that you see people smoking in the park and stuff, speaking most people being on probation and not being able to smoke marijuana like they always was, and I wasn't even into psilocybin medicines or the psychoactive therapy or nothing like that. They wasn't even introduced to that, so that's not even a question of what they could have done or not could have done. So they go to K2 or they take a Xanax. So if it shows up in the bloodstream, it's legal. So what's the big deal? Or they get addicted to painkillers after they have an accident. A lot of people get addicted to painkillers. And it's not a cool thing, man. It's not a cool thing. And that's why I'm so happy. And that's why I get harsh so that we can broadcast to the world what a lot of hospitals around the world are doing when it comes to psychotherapy and dealing with these psychoactive compounds in mental health, and finally ending a lot of these issues that we've been going through all of our lives for generations back, for generations back. All these people that's been starting wars, conquering land, tearing down the rainforests. And it sounds cliche, but that's really something that can be lowered level, that can be brought down a lot if we are able to come as a collective and say and point the fingers in the right direction. Yes, point the finger at us, point the finger at me. As I don't care. But I also want to point the finger at the people that's pointing the finger, but just take a second look at the people that's promoting these pharmaceutical drugs. And you'll see that they're motivated by money. And because you can go out and you can, I do not promote the use and I do not say that you go hunt, but you can, it's possible that you can just go out and find these magic mushrooms in the right climate, in the right forest, in the right location, and it's free. You can, there's ways to grow them, and it'll be way much cheaper than going and taking all them pills for years and years and years and paying all that money out. And it's just cheaper ways. And as we see with Tesla and all of them, they killed, well, they didn't kill Tesla. They burned down Tesla's lab when he was dealing on getting free electricity for everybody. I don't even, it probably not even a conscious thing, like saying, oh, we want to bring down consciousness and we don't want them to be too aware. Or probably it is. But if it's not, it's still motivated by money to do things that you're not going to see as totally hurting other people. You start seeing everybody as just a stick. All right. But man, it's all to be approaching. This has been fun. Man, just to keep talking. I was watching oh, connection unstable. Yeah. All right. I was trying to well no, I read the summary, before I watched the movie, so I was able to. So while I was watching it, I knew that he was a clone from the start. So I was listening to all the little things he was saying. It was about Arnold Schwarzenegger being a clone, living with a family and everything. And then he goes on this ride on a trip, and he comes back. He sees that it's him with his family. He doesn't know that it's a clone yet. He don't understand none of that. But in that day's time, people were cloning their pets, which you see people are doing now. And this movie was made in 1999 or 2001. Excuse me, that was disgusting. Or 2001. So that was really cool. They was talking about Dolly the sheep, but he really didn't know, and they were trying. The thing is, they were trying to kill him because he found out that it was another him. In his world, he had all the memories that the other guy had. He had the same habits, the same sense of humor. He loved his wife the same exact with the same exact intensity. He he was literally just a copy, just like when you copy a picture on your desktop, copy paste. It was like the same thing, and it was wild because they wanted to kill him because he saw him his other self, and his other self were just all happy, enjoying it. And it was they had the big corporation guy. It took and they had they had the big corporation guy who was you find out a lot of spoilers ahead. Who you find out was a clone as well, and he was actually trying to clone everybody, and he been cloned multiple times. But the more times that he was cloned, the more times he had less care about death. He didn't really care about death that much because he died so many times that the previous him didn't really didn't really care. Really didn't really care. Oh yeah, that's the big. I'm just getting an insight on the big picture that I had got from it is that when watching a movie, and they put this in there. Arnold Schwarzenegger was against cloning. He was so against cloning that they wanted him to clone his dog for his daughter. And trying to say like, hey, this is the times now. This is the times, man. Dude, daughter crying all day. Dead dog, just go get it cloned and bring it back. And it'd be like, it never changed. He's like, no, once you die, and stuff like that. You're just dead. You just gotta enjoy it here. You're just dead. And to me, that sounds like a conflict that I used to have in my mind, or probably still. That's why I'm talking this out. That if you, hold on, let me close the door. Hey. But the big conflict in there, what was I saying? Oh yeah, he didn't like the clones. Retract. He didn't like the clones. And this was before he knew he was a clone himself. He found out towards the end of the movie. And during the movie, him and his the other one, they became best friends. So they wound up working together, Arnold Schwarzenegger and his clone. And oh man, what was I tying this all together with? Yeah, he saw clones as bad. And I was tying this how we see a lot of things as bad, how we probably say, oh, we need to die because death is it, and that's it, and stuff like that, and you just die and everything. We just need to enjoy that. And I believe because I don't know, all right, I'm really gonna get real just loony right now. I'm become a Looney Tune for a minute. That what they really saying is how we is like a reincarnation kind of cycle or something coming back to this world. And we keep coming back to this world, but we don't know that we keep coming back to this world. And if we were ever to find out this world, we have to be shut down and reset because they kept saying just one of y'all have to live. Both of y'all cannot live at the same time, said the agency. They didn't want both of them living. And I see that as us. Like a lot of people, some things out there that don't want you to wake up, that don't want you to see what's really going on with the world, and that there's probably infinite universes or infinite worlds, infinite something. You came here a bunch of times, something, and you wasn't supposed to know that. I think a lot of these clone movies are trying to point that out in some kind of esoteric sense. The exoteric sense is probably that clones are going to exist in the future or something in that form, shape, or form. But the esoteric sense, which is the behind the scenes that I'll be talking about sometime, is that we keep coming back here and we're not supposed to know that we came back here before, that it's another us. Supposed to just think that this is it. That when you die, you just die and you should be willing to accept it. And at first, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a big proponent of this, but he slipped in that thing in the end of the movie. I saw when he said, oh, the wife said, oh, I thought you was against cloning and stuff. And he said, not anymore. Not anymore. It's so funny seeing him be playing a serious role and not just Terminator. I didn't know he had all his other movies out. And also the person that ran the corporation making the clones, the whole world didn't know that he was a clone, and he didn't want the whole world to know that he was a clone because then his rights would be taken away. So yeah, his rights would be taken away. And I see this probably as somebody that probably has undergone a mystical experience, see the multiple lives or the reincarnation cycles or the infinite worlds or parallel universes, however you want to put it. And but he can't really acknowledge that, or the world will dismantle him. And as we talk about that a lot on the Side Top podcast, that a lot of people up here in the upper echelon in the tech companies, they don't talk about their psychedelic drug use, but we found articles of people that infiltrated or became friends with them, and they talked about them. The only way they was able to put in the articles if they changed their name. Look at Elon Musk, who was on the podcast and Joe Rogan yesterday. He hit an L. It was legal in Cali, but he hit an L, and it was reported. I don't know if it's true or not. I was just reporting on some site I was on that his stock went down a bit. Like people really don't want to see you do a lot of things. But now he's thinking of taking, he put out a tweet, worth $500 million by himself. Or 500 billion. That's a big jump. I don't care about his money. He's worth a lot of money. I was about to look it up. But you see how people really don't want to see you doing things. People really don't. Hey, oh, mommy got you. I'm about to be done in just a second, okay? I'm about to come down. I'm about to end the show. Oh, baby girl getting sick. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up in a bit. But what I was talking about with clones, he at first when the person that was creating all the clones, the head of the corporation, when he was the final body that he made because he saw that he was dying, became so, you would think he became so arrogant, but he was just so used to dying and coming back that the other person, he, all these reincarnation cycles, all these cloning he did, he never was a clone that saw the previous clone before. He never experienced that. So this was the first time his previous clone that was dying because Arnold Schwarzenegger was killing him and stuff was able to see the fresh clone, and the fresh clone didn't even care about the previous one. And this is, I see how Hollywood try to muddle up things and say, oh yeah, you don't care about the previous stuff, it's all about the now, like don't give an F and stuff like that. And that's how they was playing it out. But if you dig below that anger and see what was, and I see what was really going on, I was looking and seeing how it just, that kind of thing that comes with knowing that you're not afraid of death and that you're here again. And but the other one was in shock, like he was just taking his ripping his clothes off of him because he needed them. He was like, "Here, give me that, give me that." He said, "You're not even gonna wait for me to die." He was like, "It does. What difference does it make? What difference does it make?" And but then in the end, you see that the clone that was at first like, "You just gonna let me die?" He was looking at himself, and since the same thoughts he saw, he was like, "Yo, that guy right." So then he jumped in and he was helping fight Schwarzenegger. But again, he died. He passed away because when you have so much arrogance, as I said, he played it out in the movie, stuff that don't happen in the way that you want it to. And that's the case of the fallen angels. Can't take power and abuse it. All right. So I think with that, man, thanks for tuning in to the JUSt TAi podcast. This is Captain Naga, asking you, we all tie? Do we really tie? Sometimes I don't know, dude. Sometimes I don't know. Until next time, it's Captain Naga, asking you to just take the time and breathe. Stay tuned for the latest updates. I probably admittedly should be doing a lot more breathing. My morning time, it don't matter. Always take the time to breathe. Don't try to think if you're on some kind of time schedule. Always take the moment to make sure you're at your most relaxed so you can make the best decisions possible for the rest of your day or the rest of your night, rest of your morning, whatever time you watching this. Till next time, it's Captain Naga. And like the Facebook page, check out the Instagram, and stay tuned for more. Adios.